Hey guys, I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and smartphones with physical QWERTY keyboards, well, they're kind of coming back into style. On one hand, you have the Motorola CLIQ announced at CES, a serious upgrade from the original CLIQ device, Android 2.2, much larger display, much better keyboard, almost a high-end device. And then on the other hand, you have the HTC EVO Shift 4G with Sprint, also announced at CES, 800 MHz next generation Snapdragon processor, 3.6-inch display, 4G connectivity, and it's awesome as well. We're going to do a dogfight, of course, to see which one of these devices is the best. It's going to be a tough call, though, because both have awesome QWERTY keyboards. Both are running Android 2.2. Who's going to win? Well, we'll find out. First, special thanks to our PR friends for hooking us up with review units, and special thanks to our friends at Best Buy Mobile who are hooking us up with two of these so we can give them away to you in the One Paw Bandit. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you walk out working. When you buy one of these devices, they'll help you set up your email, your internet. So when you walk out that door, you're set up and ready to go. Enough of that. It's dogfight time. Let's take a look at the phone apps on both of these devices, since obviously they're neither are running stock Android. There are some differences, and I'm not. Well, I am going to spoil it, but I prefer HTC Sense here as opposed to Motorola or Moto Blur. Don't get me wrong; both of these are fine. But you can see, we'll start with the CLIQ, for example. When I start dialing, I have a couple of contacts in my Old Man McTweety account, so you can see as soon as I dial 555, it pops up, not only with 3 matches, but it pops up and tells me that that Aaron Baker is the most likely one. So you see I can do it that way, or I can type in Aaron, A-A-R-O-N, and it brings it up that way as well. It'll also show recent calls, missed calls in that little area as well. It's organized, it's nice. And I happen to like it. You have your voice commands here, your send button, and then you have your typical tabs up here, recent contacts, and favorites as well. Favorites, Old Man Baker, that's me, so I have no friends. I just have my cat, but I can't say that in the video because this is Phone Dog. So but you have your tabs, dialer, that's how it looks in landscape mode, and then like I said, I kind of like this feature there. Now what I really have to give HTC Sense credit for is the integration between people, which is the contacts, or which are the contacts rather, and just the way overall it looks. The one thing I don't like is I don't like how it groups everything here. Is you start to get a lot of missed calls or calls in general. It groups these together with your contacts. So you can see I have my 3 contact examples here, and then I called 611 for a video a few days ago just as a test, and you can see it groups the missed call, or the received call, the call out, excuse me, with the 3 contacts. I don't like it. I kind of think it's unorganized. But, what can you do? It definitely makes up for it in other areas, which I'll show you in a second. But when you dial, very easy to use. Dial 555, it pops up with the recommended contacts, and I can click on the contacts tab and go directly to it. And I can minimize the numbers, and then I can go over here. And this is where it gets cool. You have your call history, you have your online directories, your groups, and all. You can see all of these very easily by just scrolling over. Now let's go back to all. This brings you into your contacts. We'll open up Billy Bob, for example, and when I go down here at the bottom, not only can I call and send a message, I can change my ringtone, I can send it straight to voicemail, or I can edit the contact, but by scrolling over, sorry, I can't edit that, I can see the messages that we've sent between each other, I can see the emails we've sent between each other, I can see the updates and events, gallery, and call history, just between us. So it's nice to see that information all grouped in one place, and I can't tell you how many times I've used this when I've been working with the EVO, or even with this device, where I'm like, when did I message him last? When did I call him or her last? And I can just go right into the contact, bam, call history, see it, or I can go into messages, double check there. So very easy to use, and the transitions are just incredibly smooth. You don't really get that with Moto Blur, though. You get some reasonable features, but it's just not as polished and not as smooth. You can add your social networking stuff, you can see the information, you can scroll over to history and see that as well. You can see linked profiles, you can see contact visibility, but again, it's just not as organized, not as smooth as HTC Sense, and the color scheme is a little bit different as well. So in terms of just overall organization, I have to give it to HTC Sense. They've really just done a killer job in that department. Let's take a look at Android market as well, and this is one of those things, it's the same on both devices, so we can just look at it on one, but you can see there's some changes that have been made, and if you have an Android device, this isn't limited to Android 2.2, if you have any recent Android device, you'll see the changes as well. The carousel here, it's just an overall cleaner look. You see the header is a little bit different and you can scroll through very easily. But what I like about this is not only does it look great in portrait mode, but it also looks great in landscape mode. Now you have your apps, your games. On the CLIQ it says T-Mobile, obviously. Here it says Sprint. I can see recommended Sprint applications, and we'll go into this. We'll just download one as an example. We'll download Cardio Trainer, and you can see the description. You can click more to expand that out if you want to. We'll go back to less. Then you can see screenshots, reviews, related, developer info, and then flag as inappropriate all in one easy place. So nice touch. You can see the star rating, and then when you install, it doesn't pop up with that second screen saying, do you want this application to access, blah, 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 etc. Download there. Very easy, very clean. And then for those applications that you already have, my applications, you can go to Quadrant Standard, for example, and in recent builds of Android, you can allow automatic updating. It was a feature of Android 2.2. It's been extended to Android 2.1, if I recall now. But you can allow automatic updating. So when an update is available, instead of pushing you to update manually, it'll automatically download the update to your device. So some nice improvements to the Android market. They've really done a good job with overhauling that, and it's really getting up to the point now where it's a serious contender to iOS. Quadrant Standard Time, let's take a look at how these devices fare against each other when it comes to speed tests. Let's see here, load that one up and we'll run the full benchmarks. Yeah, I have to say, I've been impressed with both of these devices. The earpieces are loud, the QWERTY keyboards work well. I took them to their respective dead spots. Call quality was very good. Despite some choppiness, I was able to maintain the calls. So to me that's what matters when I do those tests. I was very impressed with the way that the call quality worked overall. Both of these devices, great devices on your respective carriers. If you're on Sprint, I'd say don't jump to T-Mobile for the CLIQ 2. If you're on T-Mobile, I'd say don't jump to Sprint for the EVO Shift 4G. But both fantastic devices. I think you're going to be you're going to find it interesting when we pull up the Quadrant Standard scores, because they are dramatically different on both of these devices. So wait and see. It looks like the EVO Shift is almost done, and you'll see the EVO Shift comes in at 1561, 1,561. This one, on the other hand, 868. So you can see the difference between the two. And in day-to-day tasks, you don't really notice a difference when you're text messaging, when you're making a phone call, when you're browsing the web. Those casual things, you're not going to really notice a change. But when it comes to power, this one actually beats the original EVO 4G in terms of Quadrant Standard speed test. So it's definitely a capable device. It's very high-end, whereas this is like high mid-range. This is a high-end device. So keeping that in mind, the speed tests are fantastic, and like I said, this one outperforms the EVO 4G, the original device in the EVO line. Let's take a look at a speed test, and we'll load those up. Let's see, make sure we're on Charlotte with both of these. Yep, and yep, we'll keep it on 3G just for a fair comparison between the two, and then I'll kick the EVO Shift onto 4G just so you can see the idea. I mean, T-Mobile speeds have been very impressive in this area. 3 megabits per second, at least in comparison to the other carriers. I mean, you look at 3G right now on Sprint, 363 kilobits per second. And on the upload, we're going to pull about 400 kilobits per second. On the other hand, the CLIQ 2, 3 megabits per second, 1.6 megabits per second on the upload. Much better there. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Sprint. It's very erratic, and it happens across the board. I'll be in center city, or I'll be uptown, and speeds are perfectly fine. But then when you're a mile outside, or you're on the fringe of the city or the outskirts of the city, it's very different. So whereas it's very consistent with T-Mobile, so I have to give them credit for that. Now that we're kicking on 4G, let's run the speed test again just to see what kind of numbers we pull. I'll wait for that to kick on. And now that that's on, we'll run the test again just to get an idea. Numbers obviously should be faster. Wait and see. But I mean, you look at, well, okay, now it's kicking up. Good. 1.6, 1.7 megabits per second. Still not WiMAX speeds, though, or ideal WiMAX speeds. 1.6 megabits per second on the download. So even on 4G, you're seeing it right in front of your eyes. At least in the Charlotte metro area, even on 4G, the CLIQ 2 beats it when it comes to speed. So, Don't know what's going on. I will continue to reach out and see if it's a cell site issue or what it is, but I will say just in my testing in this area and other 4G areas like Las Vegas and a couple other areas, it's been about the same. It's been very erratic depending on where I'm standing in the city. Much more coverage to come on both of these devices, the CLIQ2, the EVO Shift 4G on PhoneDog.com. Dogfight winner is the EVO Shift 4G. It's still a great bang for the buck. It's $149.99. You get a lot with Sprint. Even though they're raising the premium data fee and making it across the board to all smartphones, it's still a good deal. The plans are reasonably priced, and the device is fantastic. And at $149, you really can't beat it. The CLIQ2 is an awesome mid-range device on T-Mobile, kind of mid-range to low high-end device. But when you look at what it offers, I think the EVO Shift pulls ahead. Much more coverage to come on both of these devices. I have some dogfights planned for the rest of the week with the CLIQ2, since this is our first post-CES device to come in, with the exception, of course, of the EVO Shift, which was a post-CES device as well. Be sure to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/phonedog. We're still giving away iPads and tablets. Like us, follow the instructions to access the app, and go from there. And also be sure to follow me on Twitter, phonedog_Aaron. Ask me any questions. You think I'm crazy, you think the CLIQ2 is the better device, or you think I'm awesome because I picked this device as the winner, let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Keep it locked on the site for continuing coverage of both of these devices. We'll see you next time.